Hi vlog, happy almost Passover. I am standing at City Center Jerusalem right outside of the Shuk. We have been inside the Shuk already. I've been inside the Shuk already today. Someone gave me a kosher for Passover dessert, which is basically made out of coconut covered in chocolate with, I think, maybe sugar water inside. It's a dessert. But I want to take you guys through the Shuk 2 days before the Passover and show you guys how the Shuk is different during this day. I'm going to do it in one take. Why? Because I am actually sick.
I love Israel.
Achla. Hine, opa. As you guys can see, people are happy today. This is what happens when you do things live. But because I'm sick, I don't feel like editing. And we're going to go through the Shuk in one take. And I'm going to show you guys everything that you need to know about Passover. Wow. Toda. I just got Sabbath candles. This is something very common that people do, is that they give you Sabbath candles. So that's a very nice thing. I'm going to put it inside my bag. And we are going to do a tour in one shot inside the Shuk during Passover. You might get people that'll do that again. Bye. You might see people that will do that again. We're just going to go with the flow and have some fun. So I want to show you guys. Here it literally says not to put things on this stall because this place is already kosher for Passover. What does that mean? It means there's no leaven inside this place, so they want to keep it kosher for Passover. I'm going to take you guys inside the Shuk and show you guys all the interesting things that you can find on Passover. Of course, they have the same sign all along. So, a little bit about Passover. Passover is a national holiday for Jews based on the book of Exodus, in which, I know, shuv. He's already been in the vlog. He's already been in the vlog, but Passover is based on the book of Exodus, in which God released the Israelites from 400 years of slavery and brought us back to our homeland. So during that time, because they were brought out in such a rush, they didn't have time for their bread to rise. That's why they're getting rid of everything that has leaven in it, meaning, bread, pastries, different types of food, anything that has leaven in it, anything that can make the dough rise, they are getting rid of. So you can see places like this, bakeries, they're trying to get rid to sell all of their leaven, some of it actually for very, very cheap, because they want to get rid of it before the Passover. As well as that, you also have kosher for Passover desserts and stuff like I just showed you. A lot of them are more on the drier side, but you can see they're sort of like cookies. A lot of them are made out of coconut with maybe sugar water. They put also like maybe chocolate on it or stuff like that. Maybe some different spices like cinnamon. But for the most part, it's more or less like dry cookies. And of course, there's a whole bunch of different desserts that you can make that aren't dry cookies. But that's just sort of like a holiday classic, if you will. Again, here's a bread place that's trying to get rid of all their leaven. Now, Passover just happens to fall this year on a Sabbath evening. So we still have Yom Shishi, which is a Friday, in which they're basically people are trying to buy all the things that they need in order to have not just a Passover dinner the next day, but also their Friday meal. And so you can even see some of these things are being made kosher for Passover. Why? Because beer is a non-kosher thing because it has wheat in it. And so you'll see a lot of those things are sort of wrapped in tinfoil, or if you go into shops, they will cover some of those shelves with something so that you know that there's leaven inside, and so you're not allowed to buy it. You literally cannot buy it. They won't sell it to you. And so that's something very interesting. You'll also see some of the shelves completely empty, meaning they've taken out the leaven, and so there's literally no leaven inside. There are places like this that are vegetable shops and stuff like that, that they probably don't have anything that's not kosher for Passover, so they don't have a reason to cover anything. But in other places, like that granola over there, you can see it has tin foil on the bottom, and that's because granola is not kosher for Passover, but the rest is. And so it's a very interesting time. What they have, shalom. What a lot of people do during the Passover is that they will buy either a lamb or part of a lamb because of the book of Exodus. If you guys, I don't know if you guys know about the book of Exodus or about the story in which the Israelites were freed from slavery, but if not, even if you're not a person of religion, I suggest you would go and read it because it's very interesting. There's a lot of, we call them makot bechorot. I forget how you say it, the 10 plagues, that's what it is in English. Basically the 10 plagues are the punishment of God on Egypt because they refused to let the Israelites go. And so one of them was makat bechorot, which was the plague of the firstborn. I'm probably not saying it right in English, but during that time, God commanded them to take a 1-year-old lamb without blemish and slaughter it and take the blood and put it on the doorpost so that when the angel of death comes, anyone within that... מלך היופי והאופי. Wow, the kef. He commanded them to take the blood of that lamb, put it over their doorposts, so that when the angel of death comes through, they would be spared. They were also commanded to eat that lamb, all of it, and leave nothing of it till the morning. Wow, that was so loud in there. Leave nothing of it till the morning because, actually interesting. I don't know why. I should think about the reason and maybe put it down below, or I'll put all the links below for you guys. But they weren't allowed to leave any of it till morning. They were commanded to burn it. And so a lot of people, they come and they buy a lamb for their whole family, or they buy, a part of a lamb. Another thing that people do is because they do a lot of what's called nikayon pesach, which is like Passover cleaning. They don't always have time to cook everything for themselves. So there's a lot of shops like this that they have ready-made food. Some of it is already ready for Passover. So like they have, you can see they have schnitzel, which is basically bread-covered chicken, and it's kosher for Passover. And so that's so that's a thing that you'll find. Here's another interesting thing, if I can show you guys. When you have a Passover Seder, it's basically the meal that you have on the first day of Passover, and then you also have one during the last. And here you have matzah boxes. So it's basically a tin box in which you would put your matzah in. Matzah is basically like a really dry, holy-looking cracker. You also have here, if I can show you guys, a afikoman cover. It looks sort of like that. It's almost like it almost looks like a pillowcase that's sort of I don't know, silky or whatever. It's decorated beautifully, in which you put the matzah inside on the Passover Seder. The matzah is then the matzah inside that afikoman like cover, if you will, is put inside the house. It's hidden, and then the kids of that Passover Seder, they'll go and they'll look for it in different places. What you also have, and I'll say it out here because there's music inside, is a Passover Seder plate in which you put all of the elements that symbolize different things that basically we tell the story of the Passover. What is the Seder? It's the telling of the Passover story that people have in their houses. And so you'll also have a Salachat Pesach, which is basically one of these. And you put those elements inside those little holes, and as you tell the story, each person, all of the people, they taste of those different elements of the Passover. So I think it's very beautiful. I don't know what I have. I love the meaning of this holiday. I don't know if I love the holiday. Maybe it has like bad memories for me in some way, but like it's a beautiful holiday. A lot of people also, what they do, if they're probably more on the religious side, is that you're commanded to get rid of all of your leaven. So of course you would do sort of spring cleaning, but you get rid of all your leaven. But you also have something which is called hagalat kelim, which is basically you redeem all of the dishes, all the pots, all the pans. They often even take out their like the, what do you call them? This is what happens when you do things live and you don't cut the handles. You'll take out the handles from them and you'll put them inside this really huge boiling pot of water so that it gets all of the leaven out. Another thing that you do is that something called bi'ur chametz. Bi'ur chametz is basically to burn your chametz. So they'll have it in different neighborhoods, this really huge like metal bin, and you'll basically just burn all of your leftover chametz because you're not supposed to have the remains of any leaven inside your house. And so you'll take that, your pitot, your bread, your whatever, you put it inside that bin and you burn it. And so not everyone does that. Some people just, they leave it in their freezer and they don't eat it. Some people don't do anything at all. Like some people don't, keep the Passover at all. But it just, I guess, depends on how religious you are, how you grew up, how you want to keep or not keep it. But I think it's a really interesting thing that a lot of people, they'll sort of even respect it, even if they're not really religious in any kind of way. And so I think it's a beautiful thing, even if you're not religious. Another thing I can see here that I didn't think about is mechirat chametz. Okay, so this is an interesting thing. So because you're not allowed to have chametz in your house, there are different rabbinical maybe laws and suggestions on like you can sell your chametz to someone who is a goy. So a goy is a non-Jew, okay? So like someone who's not a Jew from the nations, they can buy your chametz and then you can buy it back from them. So if you're just like, wow, I have so much chametz in my house, but I feel like it would be a waste, they buy it from you. And then I don't know what type of percentage they take off of it, but they make it worth your while that they take a certain percentage, they keep it inside somewhere, maybe their house or whatever, and then you buy it back from them. I actually forgot that that's something that they do. But yeah, generally speaking, I think that Passover and the meaning of it is it's amazing. You have to think about the fact that there wasn't any hope at all that anything would change. Think about things in your life that you've been struggling with or that you've been held a slave to for many, 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 many years. For them it was, 400, I think over 400 years. And there wasn't any hope for a change. And one day, because they started crying out to God, something changed. And oftentimes I think that we just sort of forget to cry out to God and we don't, which is also, a thing to sort of remember if you're a person of faith, that you can cry out for help. And also if you're not a person of faith, I encourage that crying out for help, because we all need help and saving in different times. No one has to do it alone. And so, yeah, it's a really meaningful holiday. And the fact that we still, thousands of years later, had the promise that God would bring us back to our homeland, to the land that He promised, I think it's a beautiful thing, because every single year, again and again, we sit around the table and we tell this Passover story to, look at that little cat, to our descendants, right? So we are supposed to tell them of the miracle that God did for us. And by the way, if we're already going to talk about miracles, you can see that sign above me. It basically has the hostages. Even here you can see, the hostages on this construction thing. And basically what you can see up there, what you can see up there is a prayer for the return of the hostages. Some of these hostages have come back already, some of them are still there, but I think it's very sort of similar in a way, almost like the equivalent of the fact that they are in a place not their own and they're not set free. And that's something that if you are a person of faith, a person of prayer, I'm asking of you to pray for the hostages, for the situation in Israel. It's a very difficult situation. Also think that this is the second Passover that the hostages are not home. So the families are still waiting for their loved ones. There's still 59 still in Gaza. 24 are believed to still be alive. And so as people are sitting around the table, some of the families of the hostages have asked them to put a yellow chair at their table to remember that there's still hostages there, that we won't forget them. So there's a lot of, I think, parallels that are happening like now in Israel and also during this Passover holiday. So that's it. This is the shuk during Passover, and I just wanted to share it and its beauty with you guys. So thanks for watching this one take, almost 16-minute video. If you are new here, welcome. We talk about all things Israel on this channel. If you are not new here, then welcome back. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys. Oh, happy Passover, and I'll see you guys in a vlog very soon.
Shalom.